Hello friends, how you doing? Hello, welcome. I'm Ben. Welcome to the stream. Um, we are doing TTRPG development stuff today, again, which is exciting. Sorry for the delay. It turns out if you stay up really late, it can really mess with your schedule the next day. So I don't know. There are upsides, but there are also downsides. Um, yeah, and sometimes you just take way too long to get out of bed and start doing your errands, but I made it. I'm here. So thank you if you're here also. Um, oh, that song. I realized I'd missed the perfect opportunity to play Christmas Island, which is a song I like by Yame online. It's an artist I like. Uh, the stream after Christmas, fool that I am, but it's not too late. It's like within 2 weeks of Christmas. We're good. Um, yeah. Anyway, so what are we doing today? Today we are going to be tackling. Okay, so last time started looking at the retroactive backstory table. But and we made some progress. Um, we did some we did some counting, we did some enumeration, which took a while of like what was actually in the table. I could continue with that, but I don't really want to. So I'm gonna do something which is a little more interesting, which is this bullet point in our to-do list, which is morale, which is not a very good bullet point. So let me talk about it a little bit. So right. So there's kind of a glaring missing section in our RPG rules, which is kind of weird because it means that there's a section that's been missing for a really long time, and no one has thought it was important enough or cared enough or noticed to request it or put it in. That section is about morale, which is something that is used pretty frequently in OSR games and probably more modern games also. Um, and it relates to how likely or unlikely an NPC or monster is to flee from a combat or whatever. Um, really common. There are morale rules in like every OSR game. Um, and I think part of the reason, and it kind of ties into this connected system of like retainers, which is what you call like the NPCs that you hire to follow you around and carry your stuff and sometimes fight with you. Um, those are called. Hey, creepy, what's up? How you doing? I don't know if I've seen you since holidays. Happy holidays if I haven't. Um, straight vibing. Hell yeah, that's great. That's a good mood to be in. I was I was a little rushed today, hence the delay, but I made it. I am now vibing, so that's good. Um, yes. In right. So I was saying, I was sorry, I was mid monologue and I derailed my train of thought. But I'm glad I did. Um, yeah. So in RPGs, you pick up like retainers or hirings or followers that you like pay to follow you around and carry your stuff, fight for you. Um, and there are not a lot of rules sections in our rules here about how to deal with that or like what the rules are for hiring them or how that works like at all. Um, I think the reason for that is that in most tabletop role playing games, like the rules for this kind of thing is pretty straightforward. Um, and it's also pretty similar between like all the games. So in the times when it's come up, when we've played this system, people generally know what to do or can intuit what to do. Um, so it's not super necessary, but I do feel like morale as a section not being there is kind of a glaring omission from these rules. So I'm going to try to add that today. Hopefully. Also creepy if I can answer any questions about what's going on or what I'm doing. Please feel free to ask. That's why I'm here. Okay. So, oh yeah. So, what's in the rules right now about retainers? Why is that we're always making rules? When do we get to start breaking rules? Hello, Endrith. Good question. Um, well, I think that's the beauty of tabletop role-playing games, really, is that you don't, they're all about breaking rules. You don't actually have to follow these rules. In fact, I meant to add a note to this rules document, just to like be super clear on that. I think all tabletop rules in general, and especially these ones because I wrote them, are, they're guidelines. They're how I suggest you play, but you don't have to do that. You don't want to. You can do whatever you want. That's what makes tabletop role playing games great for me. You could just change the rules to be better. So you can break rules whenever you want. Um, yeah. So what do we have in the rules so far about retainers, hirelings, followers, morale, that sort of thing? And I'm just going to call them retainers because that's just the term I like. Um, so here's what we have for retainer. There's not a lot in the rules. What we say here. Alternatively, you may assume control of a retainer of an equal or lower level when you die, when your character dies and you make a new one. Occasionally picked up in adventures, retainers are class characters who earn a half share of the group's XP. They make good backup characters. So that's not really rules. It has some stuff about how you would use a retainer. Um, and then what else do we have? Oh, here's an important bit. These are kind of some of the most salient points about how retainers are used. This is in experience points. If any NPC followers or retainers were an accessory to the party during adventure, they receive a share of the XP, though they only actually receive half their share, the other half is lost. So, retainers earn XP, they earn half a share of the XP. So these are two like bits scattered around our rules about retainers, and I feel like if we're writing a section about morale, it is probably worth pulling them into one section. Or I can keep those there, and just like make a comprehensive section. And I want to show you this because this is funny. So morale, which is what I was just talking about, for a bit. Morale is mentioned in our rules a lot in a bunch of tables and stuff. Like even in like some of like the core class bonuses of like the fighter. Um, in the retro backstory table a lot. In some spells, barbarian level up table. But there's no definition of this term or any rules about what it means anywhere in this rules document. So that's the main thing that we're gonna try to fix today. Um, Another related topic for this are reaction rolls, um, which that's a tool that's really commonly used in TTRPGs, um, that the DM does more in OSR TTRPGs, where you know less what the characters' motivations might be when you're encountering them. Um, Anyway, reaction roll is when you meet an NPC in a TTRPG. The DM might make a roll to determine like what their general disposition towards the party is. Um, with like, for example, like 6 being like they're willing to aid them, 1 being that like they're antagonistic towards them, and then like the sort of range in between that. So that's used a lot, or it's written about a lot. I don't actually know how much it's used, but whatever. Anyway, reaction rolls are in the rules a lot in tables and stuff. You get bonuses to reaction rolls, whatever. Um, but again, including in the description of like some of our skills, the description of one of our core stats, But again, there's not like a rules section that actually describes what that is or when you should use it. And, you know, again, this isn't like really a huge problem because I think the assumption is that most of the people that are playing this game know what those things are and how to use them roughly. But like, obviously that's not broadly true and not a good way to write rules. So, anyway, let's write in our Scratch document about what we want to do. And we'll probably just start drafting rules in here. Also, how have you guys been? How's your week been? Have you been streaming anything interesting recently, creepy? Or I guess anything would be interesting, but you know. Um, this unrelated question also, while I'm thinking about streaming. I've got like two lights in my room, right? You could see them in the background. There's like the closet one, and there's like this one I'm pointing at, the like LED lamp thing. Recently my LED lamp, you can't even see it on the stream anymore, really. Became less bright and more like looks almost like an incandescent bulb now. Which doesn't really make sense. Does that just happen when LED lights get old? Anyway. Um okay, so it's been going all right. Good, good, I'm glad. Me too. New Year's was this week. That's crazy. Trainers morale reaction rolls. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of like list out some bullet points of like what we want to hit, like what the rules are. Here's your elaborate studio lighting. Yeah, I really, we all know that I'm a professional streamer. Obviously, my lighting is impeccable. My whole setup is flawless. Looking around my desk. Um, yeah, I hear ring lights. I hear streamers use ring lights. That might be good. This lighting is just for my computer screen, which is great, probably. Um, some streamers also have stream decks, I hear. Those seem pretty useful. As much as I do like tabbing out of games every time I want, it's great. You like the bright washed out look. Yeah, no, I mean, if I lean away from my screen, it's not that bad. So it's fine. Oh, ring lights or ring lights or the screen lighting? I don't actually, probably the screen lighting. That looks bright and washed out. I don't know. I don't know how to stream. I just, I just do it. The screen ring lights are awesome. Okay, cool. Maybe I'll look into that. I feel like I should probably, buy things sometimes to make my life in general better. I'm not really good at doing that. Um yeah, well it's usually not a problem when like the screen is, dark, but this Google Doc is so white. Um we got like a night mode. Surely there is. I don't want to poke around in these settings too much. Yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, anyway, something to look into. It is funny when I'm like playing a game and then like the screen lights up a particular color, and then my face like turns that color. That's solid. Um, okay. So retainers, what we want to say is um, the important parts are things that we've already mentioned in the rules, which are retainers get a half share of XP, and I can go into more detail about what that means specifically. Um, take over retainers if you want when you die. Also, some things that might be useful are like how to recruit retainers generally. Um, and maybe even this would be more involved, but I was thinking about this, like some tables or information or examples about like what kinds of retainers are typically found. Like how do you, I mean, DMs could just make that stuff up, but I like tables, so it could be fun. Um, morale, I just need to write about what what this is and how it works. I'm just going to use the normal morale system that's in every OSR game. I don't think I have any motivation to make anything different. Um, like by that I mean there's no reason for me to make anything different. Um, and reaction roles is going to be kind of the same thing. Um, like what do I mean by that? What is that? And then like highlighting when reaction roles should be used, that they're optional. Um, because with reaction roles, I feel like, at least in my experience, people never use them. Um, so I don't know. I feel like some examples of when you're supposed to use them could be good. You don't think you need to use them all the time, but they're just like useful if you are encountering like random NPCs. Um, cool. This is kind of fun because I feel like when I'm working on this RPG, I'm not usually like writing new rules sections because most of the rules have already been broadly written for a long time. Usually I'm just like editing stuff. So kind of scary. Blank canvas here. Um, okay. I think I'm going to start with morale because that's the most straightforward. Um, and I think the best way to write stuff is just to get something down to broadly, not think about it too much, and then go back and change it and make it not bad. Um, so what are we talking about here? Um, an NPC's morale is a score between 1 and 12, indicating how likely it is to flee from combat or terrifying. That's a bad word, but I will change scenario. Um, how does morale work? Do I remember? Oh, yeah. It's NPCs have morale scores. Typically, the way it works is that like NPCs have a morale score between 1 and 12, and then so like monsters, for example, in combat, like if you're fighting like two monsters, they have a morale score of like 8. When you kill one of them, that might trigger a morale check. Um, and what you do then is you roll 2d6, and then there may or may not be bonuses or penalties. And if the morale score is higher, if the morale roll is higher than their score, then they run away. And if it's not, then they stay. Ooh, okay. There's kind of a lot there. I should write that down. Um, oh boy. Okay. When an NPC's morale is tested, such as by the death of a companion, leader, encountering something suitably terrifying, for the first time, GM should roll 2d6. Say GM, actually. GM should roll 2d6. After applying any applicable bonuses or penalty, if the result is higher than creature's morale score, seed morale score, NPC flee or otherwise abandon the group. Otherwise, NPC will, I'll just say stay. Um, okay. I think that's a decent explanation. NPC's morale score is a score between 1 and 12, indicating how likely it is to flee from combat or a terrifying scenario. I'm going to change that. When an NPC's morale is tested, such as by the death of a companion, leader, encountering something suitably terrifying for the first time, the GM should roll 2d6. After applying any applicable bonuses or penalties, if the result is higher than the NPC's morale score, the NPC will flee or otherwise abandon their group. Otherwise, the NPC will stay. Um, hmm. NPCs that will never flee. Therefore, have a morale score of 12. Average container starts with a morale of, I don't know. Morale is typically rolled at the GM's discretion. Okay, that's decent. Um, oh, I'm so inconsistent with my apostrophes here. Horrible. I think we broadly covered what this is and how it works, so I'm just going to read through this again and try to edit it a bit. An NPC's morale is a score between 1 and 12, indicating how likely it is from combat or similarly resolve testing scenarios. Surely that's better. When an NPC's morale is tested, such as by the death of a companion, leader, or encountering something, such as by the death of a companion, their leader, encountering something terrifying for the first time, the damage should roll 2d6. The damage should roll 2d6, and after applying any applicable bonuses or penalties, if the result is higher than the NPC's morale score, then the NPC and the NPC flee or otherwise abandon their group. Period. Not a lot of periods in this paragraph. Otherwise, the NPC will stay. NPCs that will never flee, therefore typically have a morale score of 12, the average retainers of whatever I decide. Cool, that's decent. Okay. So I guess we'll need to address this, what a retainer's morale is. Um, let's try to do retainers and see what we can manage. Um, okay. So what are retainers? Retainers are NPCs that are hired by the players or otherwise join the players over the course of their permanently join the player's party over the course. Distinction I'm trying to draw here between like random NPCs that you're working with, like other groups, and like people that you hire or just decide to tag along with you indefinitely. Um, yeah, yes. Um, I feel like I should just write a line here about why retainers are good. Um, Retainers are generally useful because they allow the party to create more equipment or treasure and can also be significantly helpful on that, have a larger group. Felt obligated to write that because the next part is what balances retainers, which is that they steal some of your XP. Um, Retainers are leveled characters. Mm, that's not always true. Retainers earn XP similarly to players. When XP is earned by players, either by feeding monsters or returning to a safe location with treasure, adventure, retainers who participated in appropriate combat or ventured into dangerous location are awarded share of XP, like the players, so only actually earn half of the XP share. Just going, this is great. For example, this word is potentially misspelled. Thank you, Google Docs. Ugh, I fucked it up. For example, if a party of 4 players and 1 retainer return to a city, 1,000 SP worth of loot, each player receive 200 XP. 1,000 divided by 5. And the retainer would earn 1,000. Or 100, not 1,000. 1,000 divided by 5 divided by 2. We put spaces there, so it's not bad. I should actually probably write out the word divided and not use the symbol. Ooh, I'm writing a lot here and very fast. And I think that's because I already know what these rules are. I don't actually have to think of the rules very much. I just have to like transcribe them. Um, which is nice. Okay. Should go back and read what I just wrote at some point. Okay, yeah, let's do that now before we write anything else. Retainers are NPCs that are hired by the player or otherwise permanently join the player's party over the course of their adventure. That are either hired by the player, permanently is probably overkill, or otherwise join the player's party over the course of their adventure. Retainers are that whole clause is unnecessary. Retainers allow the party to carry more equipment or treasure and are also significantly helpful in combat. Retainers earn XP similarly to players. When XP is earned by players, either by defeating monsters or returning to a safe location with treasure from an adventure, retainers who participated in the appropriate relevant combat or ventured into the dangerous location are awarded a share of XP like the players, so they only actually earn half of the XP from their share. For example, if a party of 4 players and 1 retainer return to a safe city with 1,000 SP worth of loot, each player would receive 200 XP, 1,000 divided by 5, and the retainer would earn 100. 1,000 divided by 5 divided by 2. Cool. We did it. Writing, editing. Um, oh, last time, Endrith was talking to me last time about like the co-working, not last time, a little while ago, about like the co-working category. I think that's a category. I added the co-working tag last time to the stream. That's kind of what we're doing here. That's kind of what I'm doing, is I'm working on something. Um, that seemed reasonable. I can add that again. I don't really know. Let's not put a label on it. Let's just stream. And if people want to watch, thank you. Um, though I actually like I checked out some of the co-working streams like after Andros recommended that to me, and a lot of the co-working streams seemed like there's like a streamer who is like silently working on something, like they're I don't know doing whatever. Um, I don't know. I don't know how that usually goes. I don't usually watch that category of stream. Um, that's definitely not what I do. I just like don't shut up the whole time, or at least I try not to. Um, in the hope that it's vaguely interesting. These sorts actually, I feel like maybe hurt my voice the most because I feel like I talk the most continuously during them, uh, which is fine. Um, okay, what was I doing? Okay, so we wrote about retainers get a half share of XP. Um, we should add a line about you can take care of retainers if you want when you die. Um, one use of retainers is as placement characters when a P dies. Player would like to, the GM agrees, they may take over a retainer of an equal lower level of their previous character. GM agrees. It's probably unnecessary. Take over a retainer of equal or lower level of the previous character instead of creating a new character. This can both, this can be a good way to both quickly reincorporate players into the game, as well as allow players start as a higher than one year long running games. One use of retainers is as one use of, I don't like this sentence. existing retainers as opposed to the non-existing retainers. Existing retainers may be taken over after player dies. If the player would like to, they may take over a retainer of an equal or lower level of their previous character instead of creating a new character. This can be a good way to both quickly reincorporate players into a game as well as to allow players or to let them have as well as to allow players to start as a higher than level 1 character. Okay. The one question that comes up here for taking over retainers is, do you pay them? In a lot of games, you have to like pay retainers to work with you. You're hiring them, right? Um, so how much is that, and how does that work? What happens if you're hiring someone and then you have a player take them over? I think if we switch to our rules, I feel like in the items table here, if it was anywhere for how much it costs to hire someone, it would be in here. Um, Services? No. God, I really need to change this item list. No, doesn't really seem like anything there. Um, did you have to pay retainers? I mean, I feel like they already get a cut of the treasure. Though it is really just specified that right now that they get a cut of the XP. They should probably also get a cut of the money. And that can be their payment. That's fine. Pressing the wrong button. Switch tabs here. Um, yeah, they should. Retainers also get a cut of the actual SP from treasure. In this case, 200 SP. Just like the players. Um, I think there should be a section about like, or at least a line about like, any retainers will be satisfied at the prospect of split treasure. So, powerful or untrusting retainers may require additional payment up front, guaranteed payment in case that little treasure is recovered. Should we prefer that retainers are paid? Any retainers will be satisfied with the prospect of equals treasure, but powerful or untrusting retainers may require additional payment upfront, guaranteed payment in the case that little treasure is covered. Alternatively, some retainers accept fixed wage independent of treasure recovered. Then I should give an example. Um, Looking at these service prices here that we have in our rules. So coach travel per day, 10 SP to travel by coach per day. 20 SP to charter a coach per day. 10 SP to stay in a good inn per night in the city. Probably like 25-ish SP per day. Cool. Any retainers will be satisfied at the prospect of an equal split of treasure. The powerful or untrusting retainers may require additional payment upfront or guaranteed payment in the case that little treasure is recovered. Alternatively, some retainers may accept a fixed wage, independent of treasure recovery, typically in the range of 25 SP. Cool. That's solid. Let's add this into our outline. Okay, I feel like this should probably be reorganized. I feel like it would be good to have like a retainer section, then we can have like a recruiting retainer section. And then we can move this part about how much they get paid there. Cool. Um, Retainers can typically be hired at in cities or towns. Citizens seek glory or fortune and are desperate enough. It's good. It's not how you spell desperate. F. Join random passing and I don't think that's a good sentence, but I like the vibe of it. Any retainers will be satisfied with them. Yeah, that's the thing. Um, Mm, retainers can often be found asking around for people work through agencies or guilds, settlements, posting an ad for retainers can typically be hired in cities or towns as the denizens seek glory or fortune or are simply desperate. Nice. Okay. Retainers can often be found by asking your work. Agencies are a guild in agencies or guild, larger settlements, or by posting an ad. Cool. And then if we wanted to make tables for retainers, say, um, if something like tables that can randomly generate possible retainers for hire can be found. And then the imaginary world where these tables exist, that would be a link. Cool. That's pretty solid. Um, oh, I didn't answer the question of what their morale starts at. I feel like it's got to be 7, right? 7 is the middle of 2d6, or is the most likely result on 2d6. Which I guess would mean that retainer, when someone dies, stays a bit more than half the time, like 60% of the time, like 58% of the time, and flees the other like 40% of the time, which is pretty reasonable. So I guess we could probably maybe clarify that in, if we wanted to modify that via randomly generating hireling retainers. Um, I'm thinking there could maybe be a table that modifies starting morale, something like that. Anyway, we'll say 7. The average retainer starts with morale of 7. 76. 7. Cool. Nice. Okay. Happy with this. Happy with this bit. At least as a draft. That's a lot of text we wrote, which is cool. Um, okay. Next, I will write about reaction roll. First, I think I'm going to take a quick break to go to the bathroom. But yeah, then we can do that. And we're feeling the vibe. Can maybe make some tables, which sounds fun. Cool. Oh yeah. Thanks for everyone who's been watching so far. Thank you, Creepy Ninja. I'll be back in a sec. Oh, lots of bands suddenly. Hello, what's up? I'm back. Welcome back. Thank you, thank you. I have to say, big ego boost to get up and look at your phone, see that you have a dating app. Very exciting. Once every 1 to 2 weeks, you know? They should more often. And honestly, who wouldn't like someone who streaming writing rules for their, you know, indie tabletop role playing game on Twitch in their free time? Can hardly imagine a better collection of characteristics for an individual. Anyway, what was I doing? Writing rules. Yes. I had something else to say too, but I thought that was pretty. Um, what was I doing? Retainers. Creating retainers. Morale. Reaction rolls. Cool. Um, oh, I was also thinking about what what game I'm gonna play next. Excited about that. Um, because I think I'm gonna finish Doom next week, which is exciting. But also because I'm looking to games. So I think I'm gonna do a poll, maybe tomorrow, maybe later this week, on like what to play next. I have some ideas. But you know, if you have any hot pitches, feel free to put them forward for consideration. Whoa, what's going on? Why is my voice echoing? What did I do? What the fuck was that? Sorry, I muted my mic. Am I? Oh God, horrifying. I think I had my Twitch page open and it was playing in like the thumbnail, and somehow that's never happened before. Somehow I've never done that before. That was very concerning. Like it was talking to me. Uh, okay, sorry, I got derailed there. Don't do that. Um, that actually happened to me before. That did happen to me before, kind of. When I was one time when I was collabing with Wisteria on something. Anyway, Stray Gods. Yeah, yeah, yeah. One sec. Um, yeah, I went to like check the audio and I opened like my own stream page and then I was like, oh, that's so weird that the audio is echoing. Why could that be? And it's because if you open the stream page and then the desktop audio and then it's anyway. Um, Stray Gods, yeah. No, you've recommended that one to me before. Um, and it looked like something I would like because obviously. Um, okay, yeah, good call. That can go on the poll. We can have Stray Gods. I think it's Stray Gods. There is a game that I was planning on playing next, which is kind of a weird one. Um, which I guess is I don't know, just par for the course. Um, and then I've seen a lot of people playing My Side. That seems like a game that I think would be really funny for me to play. So that might be an option. Anyway, we'll see. So look forward to that. Um, okay, writing rules. Reaction. This is and how it works. Your players encounters an NPC GM may not immediately know how that C react to um to the party. In such a case, the GM's reaction roll determine the position. To do this, roll 1d6. To do this, roll 1d6. Apply any relevant bonuses, penalties. A 1 is NPC is hostile or antagonistic. 6 indicates the NPC is friendly or willing to help the party. Very friendly and happy to party. Here's a queen. It's a scale. 2 extremes. Bam. Party players encounters NPC group. The GM may not immediately know how will react to the party. In such a case, the GM may use a reaction roll to determine. Do this, roll 1d6 and apply any relevant bonuses or penalties. A 1 indicates the NPC is hostile or antagonistic. 6 indicates the NPC is very friendly, happy to aid the party. A 1 indicates the NPC is hostile or antagonistic, and 6 indicates very friendly, happy to aid the party, with the numbers in between scale between these. That's fine. And highlighting when reaction rolls should be used and they're optional. We did highlight when they are used here, but we can restate. Reaction rolls are a tool optional tool most used random encounters misc NPCs. GM may also select which disposition is suitable. Do this because people often take the rules just too literally, I think. Like I was saying before, these are truly just guidelines. You can just ignore them. Oh no, that shouldn't be returned. Um, okay. This is decent. That was also fast. Um, I don't think these are like perfect sections, but I think they're pretty serviceable, which is good. Um, tables added. Let me just do a read through of them again, and then maybe we could find a place to add them to the rules, and then maybe we can fuck around with some tables that generate retainers, because that sounds fun. Um, yeah. I'm not anticipating this being a super long stream, especially because we wrote this pretty fast. But yeah, we'll just fuck around and see how far we feel like doing, see how long we feel like doing that. Um, okay. Let me know if any of this sounds horrible or unintelligible. Retainers. Retainers are NPCs that are either hired by the players or otherwise join the player's party over the course of their adventure. Retainers allow the party to carry more equipment or treasure and are also significantly helpful in combat. Retainers earn XP similarly to players. When XP is earned by players, either by defeating monsters, returning to a safe location with treasure from an adventure, retainers who participated in the relevant combat or ventured into the dangerous location are awarded a share of XP with players, though they only actually earn half of the XP from their share. For example, if a party of 4 players and 1 retainer returned to a safe city with 1000 SP worth of loot, each player would receive 200 XP, 1000 divided by 5, and the retainer would earn 100 XP, 1000 divided by 5 divided by 2. Retainers also get a cut of the actual SP from. In this case, they would gain 200 SP, just like the player. Existing retainers may be taken over after a player character dies. If the player would like to, they may take over a retainer of an equal or lower level. Take over a retainer of an equal or lower level of their previous character? Is that the right word? If a player would like to, they may take over a retainer of an equal or lower level band. Band is the right word. And their previous character instead of creating a new character. This can be a good way to both quickly reincorporate players into a game, as well as to allow players to start as a higher than level 1 character in a long running game. Um, Recruiting retainers. Retainers can typically be hired in cities or towns as the denizens seek glory or fortune, or are simply desperate. Retainers can often be found by asking around for people looking for work, through agencies or guilds in larger settlements, or by posting an ad for recruitment. Many retainers will be satisfied at the prospect of an equal treasure, though powerful or untrusting retainers may require additional payment up front or guaranteed payment in the case that little treasure is recovered. Alternatively, some retainers may accept a fixed wage, independent of treasure recovered, typically in the range of 25 SP per day. Tables that can be used to randomly generate possible retainers for hire can be found here. Tables to be added. How did I fuck that up? Um, an NPC's morale is a score between 1 and 12, indicating how likely it is to flee from combat. Similarly, resolve testing scenarios. Weird sentence. An NPC's morale is a score between 1 and 12, indicating how likely it is they are to flee from combat. Similarly, stressful scenarios. When an NPC's morale is tested, such as by the death of a companion or their leader, I struggle with commas sometimes. When an NPC's morale is tested, such as by the death of a companion or their leader, this is such an awkward. I think we should maybe extract out the separate sentence. When an NPC's morale is tested, the GM just roll 2d6, and after applying any applicable bonuses or penalties, if the result is higher than the NPC's morale score, then the NPC will flee or otherwise abandon their group. Otherwise, the NPC will stay. Cool. And then we can have a sentence of sorry, looking back at the chat, that was too many events. How dare you even suggest that? That could even be possible. Really are not enough in this world. Sorry, distracted. Situations where morale might be tested. Death of a computer. Just gonna copy this. Entering something terrifying for this time. Hmm. Similar situations. Needed companion. Hmm. No, I won't add a note with that. I was gonna say something like similar situations, like if your companions repeatedly die in a combat, typically don't test morale multiple times. I don't know if that's always true. I think for monsters, what you're supposed to do in some systems is like if there's a group of monsters, when the first one dies, you test morale, and then when half of them die, you test morale. But like, I don't think people do that. I feel like you should probably just roll morale on a vibes basis. Like when it feels like you should. Like if there's a group of like 6 wolves, probably shouldn't roll morale every time a wolf dies, right? But if there's like a leader, you should roll morale when they die. And if you want to, you can also roll morale like when the first one dies or when like half of them die. Those are both reasonable. But I don't know if having explicit rules like you need to roll one only the first time a companion dies in a combat and then when half of people are dead is helpful. I don't think GMs are going to remember that. I don't know. Um, situations where morale might be tested, death of a companion or leader, or encountering something terrifying for NPCs that will never flee. They have a morale score of 12, and the average retainer starts with 7. Clause. Morale is typically rolled at the GM's discretion. Feel it is appropriate for an individual or that's fine. Okay. Reaction rules. When a party of players encounters an NPC or NPC group, the DM may not immediately know how those NPCs react to the party. In such a case, the GM may use a reaction roll to determine the NPC disposition. To do this, roll 1d6 and apply any relevant bonuses or 1 indicates the NPC is hostile or antagonistic, and a 6 indicates the NPC is very friendly and happy to aid the party, with the numbers in between acting as a scale between these two extremes. Reaction rolls are an optional tool most used in random encounters or meeting missing NPCs. The GM may also just select which disposition they miss instead of misc. Welcome. Okay, I feel like probably put these into the actual rules doc somewhere. Um, though kind of bummed. I think all my hyperlinks are broken in the document because I recently moved like where I like copy pasted this document from one Google Doc to another. And I think that means all of these hyperlinks are broken, which sucks because putting in those hyperlinks is a lot of work because there's like a million of them. Um, so anyway, that's gonna make navigation a little bit harder, but at least we still have the outline here. Um, okay, so where should this go? Is there any like obvious section? Kind of big sections are basics, combat. Says okay, it's not going to be anything down. And then down here in additional rules, I feel like I was thinking about. I don't if the goal were like to publish this somewhere, just like on the internet or something for free. Um, I don't know. I kind of feel like I should get rid of additional classes, additional rules sections, and just make them actual classes or rules. You know, because the distinction that's currently in place is like this is bonus stuff that I haven't like written too much of or like is not balanced super well and it's just there in case you want to use it, which is cool, but I feel like I should probably just polish that and incorporate it into the real rules, you know? Um Even if it's like niche. Oh, this is why we have like 150 pages of rules. And tables. A lot of it's tables. Um okay. Actually, let me write that on my to-do list. I should probably reorganize this to-do list so it's not like the middle of this document anymore. It's fine. Um, Optional classes. Okay. Well, if we were going to put them anywhere, I would think we'd want to put them in the basic section, somewhere near like or magic. Probably like here. Like the how did I make this bar go full screen? Hmm. Okay. Whatever. Um. Yeah, I think it should go like here. I'm just gonna paste here. This needs to remember what I pressed to make the top bar go. I don't want it right now, so that's okay. Um, I'll fix that. Okay. So the other thing I was thinking was like maybe making tables for what kind of retainers you might expect to find in a like place, like when you're recruiting them, as a sort of GM tool, and also because I like making tables like that. Um, and that's partially inspired by I made this thing, this other document for fun for that somewhat recently, which I haven't added to rule or anything, or really shown anyone yet. Um, which is just about like using a deck of cards to generate a random of people, like a random party of adventurers, which is fun. I wanted to use deck of cards to do something. Um, anyway, so I've made tables that are kind of like this recently. So I might just like steal from them, to make similar tables for retainers because when you're making a retainer table, it's easier than generating a group, right? Um, but you would certainly want to have their level, their class. I'm going to ignore name for now. Um, their morale score. Here they might have. That's kind of all the things you need. Um, Other things that would be nice to have are some of the things that I added in those tables that I was just showing you, which are like motivations they have, like stat modifiers, interesting features, and personality. I guess stats are in need to have. Um, Nice to have is like personality, interesting features. Um, yeah. I guess if I copy some of these tables, like exactly, I could, I could reuse them for the group generation. It's kind of a good thought. Um, I've written a similar character generation, random character generation thing. I've actually written a couple in the past, which I should probably find pull from. But I think for this, I think I could probably just get away with some of these tables. Thinking about it, I could probably get away with some of these tables that I made for the group Adventurers Generation, because pretty much the same thing. Um, oh, interesting. I guess I can go through bit by bit and see how that would play out. Try and decide if I want to do that all right now. Um, the only ones that we wouldn't have are like morale score. What did I write for stat modifiers? Hmm. So in this system here, you you determine them by drawing. This is not directly transferable. I'm just looking at them. Draw 3 cards to determine all this about them. Um, and this one for stat modifiers, I do, -1, ±0, +1, +2 to their most relevant stat. I've done it before where like you roll for each stat for a modifier. I don't know if that's totally relevant, but I did kind of like that system better. Just when I was doing this with cards, I wanted to limit the number as much as possible because uh, it's harder to do random generation with cards than dice. I'm just gonna write what I'm thinking. Can we push the group generation tables? Potentially. Only new tables really needed are for morale score. You want more involved here or stat. And I think hmm, yeah. This table in particular, I don't think you'd want to. Oh, and also this table is very generous for stat modifiers because like you're getting a positive modifier 3/4 of the time. That makes sense for like a most relevant stat for an NPC, but you wouldn't want to roll this table for every stat because you would end up with just like absolutely stacked NPCs, which I don't think you probably don't want. The rest of these though are fine. I like this interesting feature table. I like this key personality trait table. Um, Right. And what was kind of interesting was making this table of like classes they could be an odds distribution built in. It's not too complicated, but yeah, I don't know. Okay. All right. Was just thinking about it. So I guess if we were to make a table for morale, really wouldn't need to be complicated. And I don't think you I don't need to make it compatible with drawing cards. Probably just look like like that. Yeah, I can work on that later. I don't know if I like getting low morale retainers. That kind of sucks, but yeah, it would just look okay. Um, yeah, I guess I'm just gonna reuse the tables. I don't have as much interesting stuff to do here as I was hoping I could do on stream. A little sad. That's fine. Um, I don't really want to copy and paste this stuff over to the main right now. So, is there anything else that we want to stream? I wanted to go a little bit long. Um, list back to our chart of backstory table. We could try and write some additional small rules section. It was pointed out. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Okay. One more small thing we'll write then. It was pointed out to me recently that I thought there was a section in our rules that there isn't, which is kind of a niche thing. Um, about fall damage, or how do I describe this? Basically, like if someone gets thrown against something, like if you're pushed backward, like you're pushed backwards 20 feet and you're like 5 feet from a wall, you know, what happens when you hit that wall? And the answer that I like is that you should take damage as if you had like fallen for 15 feet, like 15 feet of fall damage, because like the amount of your fall that is stopped by hitting the wall, the more of that, the more of the force that you have that is stopped, more damage you take. That was a terrible description. But anyway, called splat damage, is what Tristan called it. That's what I wrote in the to-do list. So let me see. what I have in here. Fall damage. See, this hyperlink is. Oh, damn. I'm gonna have to replace all that. That sucks. Yeah, so this is fall damage table. I think I need a line. Just like character is slammed or pushed. Certain distance. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know. Now I'm thinking I was gonna say character is slammed or pushed for a certain distance, typically by a supernatural force, and they're stopped by a wall. They take fall damage equal to the amount of damage they would have continued falling, or they would have continued being pushed. But now I'm thinking, wondering about how that interacts with wrestling. When you're wrestling something, you win the wrestle. One of the options you throw them, come back. If you were against a wall and you kick them back 10 feet, if you were using these rules, they would take 10 feet of fall damage, which would be 1d6, which is kind of a lot. It's more, at least, than the other option with playing, which is to just punch them. So I don't really like that. Oh, so we'd have to add like in some line here to be like, this doesn't make them damage. Or you'd have to add some exception that is like, you only take splat damage, going, but being pushed backwards, which I think is worse. I think you'd want to add like normal thing, and then our bases are covered. Now we can write the rule. Character is slam or pushed. Hit all similar hard surface. or full distance. You take fall damage equal to the mean distance. I want to put in an example. I guess I could put in an example. Slam pushed the wall or similar hard surface before the full distance. Pushed, they fall damage equal to since they for example. And I just need to find on something that someone back. Early spells. Okay. Gust of wind. That probably pushes people. Ooh. Oh wow, it only pushes small creatures. This stops normal people. Oh, alright. Is there a spell that pushes people? Should be. Well, telekinesis. It's hard to throw people with telekinesis. It's alright. I guess it's not that bad. Sort of high level. Hmm. For example, high level caster is able to telekinesis. Directly to the wall standing next to. Its telekinesis moves its target feet per round. Player would take of ball, stay immediately by the wall, feet travel. First slammed or pushed and hits a wall or similar surface before they travel. pushed take fall damage equal to the remaining distance they would. For example, a high-level caster is able to throw a player with telekinesis directly into the wall next to. Telekinesis moves its target 20 feet per round. Player would take 20 feet of fall damage. Player would take 20 feet of period. Immediately stopped by the ball with 20 feet. Cool. Easy. Just put this in the image section. Oh, that made it look so much worse. That's okay. Cool. And we get to cross something off. Cool. Okay. Well, I wasn't really planning on this being a super long stream. And we kind of got through that stuff fast. So I kind of feel like I might just stop here for now. But I am happy with the amount that we wrote. And I will go back and forth that correctly. Um, yeah, that's solid. Um, I always get to the point where like what I have to do, at least on these on these streams, what I have to do on the RPG is like do big table edits and like I don't know. I just don't I just don't feel like it right now. Um but then that's kind of what I have to do, so it's kind of like ugh. Um but I guess I will do it eventually or either do it off stream. I certainly did it when I was going through the spell list on stream. That took forever. Um but right now I think I'm pretty good with this. And I got what I wanted to get done. That's good. Cool. All right. So sorry for late start. Apologies. Um, and for kind of early ending. Um, but yeah. Again, happy with this stuff that we did. Happy we could still work on TTRPG stuff. Um, let me think about things coming up. There should be stream next Thursday, as far as I know. There may not be stream next Sunday, so I have to double check. I'll post a schedule. I think exciting things coming up. I will post poll soon, as mentioned, which I'm excited about. I'm excited to start a new game soon. Um, there may be some collabs coming in the future. I know that we talked in the Discord about doing a Halo Combat Evolved collab with Wisteria, and I'm still hoping that that happens sometime soon-ish, in the next couple months. So I've got to talk with her about that. And I was thinking about out to one or two other people I know to do collabs as part of my, you know, things to do in the new year plans. Um, yes, there is. I have a friend who is a streamer who I don't think you guys know. who is very cool, and I would very much like to collab with them. So I gotta reach out to them and ask if they want to do anything. Don't know what we'd do yet, but that will probably happen in the next couple months. Yeah. Um, that's about it. If you have time tomorrow, I hear Styria has an important stream planned at her normal stream time, which is like 8:30 Eastern, presumably. I actually don't know what time it is. I assume it's her normal stream time. So check that out if you have a chance. I'm doing cross promotion. Sorry. Um, yeah, cool. All right. That's all I'm gonna do tonight. Thanks for watching, everyone. Appreciate it. Thank you, Creepy and Enderith, for watching and chatting. Thank you to anyone else, of course. You too. Thanks for being here, Creepy. I hope you have a good night. I hope to see you guys soon. If anyone else is watching and they want to see more TTRPG stuff or video games, feel free to follow. Of course. Thank you, Enderith. Otherwise, I will see you guys probably on Thursday. So, hell yeah. Thanks all. Have a good night. Bye.